Good morning, students. Welcome back to our English class. Today we are going to read the topic clauses in grammar. Yes. So, while reading this, while we will go through this topic, we will be having two Dalmia core values, that is growth of mindset and happiness. Growth mindset means you will be elaborating, you will be knowing about more and more rules, more new grammatical rules, and happiness, you will quite feel yourself happy when you will be knowing about the new rules and about the clauses. So students, as you all know, today our topic is clauses. So what is the definition of a clause? A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and its own predicate. For example, you can see yesterday when Sarita invited Lata, now as you can see on the screen, Sarita is the subject and from invited Lata, this is the predicate. So a clause can be a complete sentence or a part of a sentence. As you all know, a sentence can have one clause or more than one clause. For example, you can see the sun rises in the east. So the sun is the subject, rises is the verb, rises in the east, this is the predicate. That means clause is the complete sentence which is having a subject, which is having a verb. One more example you can see, in the backyard, the dog ran behind the cat. So the dog is the subject, ran is the verb, and ran behind the cat, this is the predicate. One more example, whenever Akbar gave Birbal a tricky problem, Birbal solved it easily. So you can see Akbar is the subject, gave is the verb, gave Birbal a tricky problem is the predicate. This is the first clause. And the second clause is Birbal solved it easily. So the Birbal is subject, solved is verb, solved it easily is predicate. So this is the second clause. That means a sentence can have one or two clauses. So sometimes there may be more than one clause in a sentence. Just now we have seen one example of that. One more example. He has a chain which is made up of gold. So one subject is he, the other subject is which. Has a chain is predicate, is made up of gold is predicate. So we can see that there are two clauses in the sentence. So clauses, it is divided, it is having two parts. One is independent clause, the other is dependent clause. So which makes, independent clause means which makes complete sense on its own. Whereas dependent clause, you can see one example of independent clause. Football is an interesting game, though it requires a lot of energy. So football is an interesting game. This is independent clause, means it doesn't need help of any other subject or verb. So a clause may make complete sense by itself in a sentence and does not depend on another clause to complete its meaning. Such a kind of clause is called the main clause, independent clause, or the principal clause. That means it is having three names. Either we call it the main clause, or we call it independent clause, or the principal clause. You can see in the example, Pinky wants to meet her father. So main clause is to meet her father. So a sentence may have two main clauses. When in a sentence there are two main clauses, they are known as coordinate clauses. Coordinate clauses are usually joined by a conjunction. Example of coordinate clauses you can see on the screen. The examination is easy and I can pass easily. So what is that? And is the conjunction. It is joining the two clauses. Main clause 1 is the examination is easy, and main clause 2 is I can pass easily. And these two clauses are joined with the conjunction and. So independent clause, it is clear. Now comes your dependent clause. Dependent clause depends on another clause to make a complete sense. For example, you can see whenever Akbar gave Birbal a tricky problem, Birbal solved it easily. Now, whenever Akbar gave Birbal, so it is a dependent clause. That means it has to depend on the other. Because whenever Akbar gave Birbal, what? It is not, the meaning is not clear unless and until we read the other part. So whenever Akbar gave Birbal, this is the dependent clause. So when in a sentence, a clause does not make complete sense by itself and is dependent on the main clause to complete its meaning, it is known as a subordinate or dependent clause. You can see example. Pinky wants to meet her father who lives in the city. Now clause 1 is Pinky wants to meet what? Her father. What about father? So the other thing, that means clause 1 has to remain, has to depend on clause 2. Who lives in the city? So now types of dependent clauses. Dependent clauses can be classified, can be divided into 3 types. One is noun clauses, other is adjective clauses, and the third is adverb clauses. Now we are taking the noun clauses. Noun clauses. Clauses that begin with words like how, that, what, whatever, when, where, whether, which, whichever, who, whoever, whom, whomever, and why are called noun clauses. They are called noun clauses because they act as nouns in sentences. See, one example. Whoever invented this machine is a genius. So whoever, this is the subject, invented, this is the noun clause, this machine. Whoever invented this machine is a noun clause, is a genius. So now you can easily confirm whether it is a noun clause or not by replacing the whole noun clause by he or she, as the whole noun clause is referring to a person. Yes? So noun clauses, he is a genius, she is a genius. Yes, the sentence sounds sensible. So this clause is a noun clause. Now the other is adjective clause. Adjective clauses act as adjectives in a sentence. The adjectives modify the nouns in a sentence. You can see the example. You can see example, the boy who is standing near the elevator might be Rayan's cousin. The boy, it is the noun and it is modifying the noun. You can see who is standing near the elevator. This is the adjective clause. Might be Rayan's cousin. One more you can see. This is a cute dog. Dog is a noun and it is modifying the noun cute. Cute is the adjective. So adjective clauses describe the nouns that comes just before them. One more example we can see. The dog, which is black and white in color, is very cute. So the dog is the noun and it is modifying the noun which is black and white in color. So this is the adjective clause, is very cute. So adjective clause generally begin with words like who, which, that, etc. One more example we can see. This we already done. Yes, these are the situations that try a man's strength. So now, what is the noun? The situation is the noun. That try a man's strength is the adjective clause. That means adjective clause is modifying the noun. The dress which is lying on the bed is my favorite. The dress is the noun and it has been modified by the adjective clause which is lying on the bed is my favorite. So this ends our adjective clause. Now comes your adverb clause. Adverb clauses act as adverbs in a sentence. It will be clear with an example. Yes, the mouse quickly ran towards the hole. Now quickly, this is the adverb. Ran is the verb. So adverb clause which modifies the adverb. Adverb clauses also perform the same functions as adverbs. They modify or describe verbs in a sentence. So how the mouse ran? The mouse ran quickly. So this is the adverb clause. One more example you can see. He stayed away from his classmates because he thought they were a bad company. So what is the action? Stayed away. This is the action. And what is the adverb clause? He thought they were a bad company. So this is the adverb clause. So adverb clauses usually begin with words such as because, when, whereas, as though, even if, unless, till, as if, etc. So we can identify with these conjunctions. If these words are coming, that means this is an adverb clause. One more example you can see. He talks as though he has seen it all. So talks is the action and it has been modified as though he has seen it all. So this is the adverb clause. One more example. I like to read, whereas my sister likes to dance. So like is the action, it is the verb, and whereas my sister likes to dance is the adverb clause. So children, you have seen, we have discussed, we have gone thoroughly through the topic clauses and its type, and it is having two types, independent and dependent clauses. So they are also later on modified into noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses. So I hope you all have understood, and stay at your home, remain healthy, stay fit. Thank you, students.